Hey there, Jason here. Today I'm going to show you how you can manage lists of data in Bubble with repeating groups. So this is going to allow you to say you've got a music collection and you've got a list of artists and you've got a list of tracks and you want to associate tracks to an artist. This will show you how to use a repeating group basically to move tracks back and forth so you can assign things to an artist and take them out of an artist catalog with a really simple UI. So if you're not familiar with Bubble data structures, here's what a typical relational database would look like. You would likely have an artist table, a track table, and then some type of join table so you'll know what tracks are associated to what artist. There's a bunch of different ways you can do it, but just to simplify it, let's go with that. Bubble refers to everything as things if you're not familiar with that, and you may have an artist table and you may have a track table, but instead of using a join table, what you're going to do is just have a track field, which is a list of tracks from this track table. So let's see how that is set up here. So first things first, I've got my artist table, I've got my track table. Right now, each of those just have one piece of data, just the name. Now I want to associate those tracks to the artist, so I'm going to create a new field. Let's just call it tracks. I have a habit of doing this, and this is so once your application gets complicated, you can see that you're actually referring to a different field in another thing. You don't have to do that, but for me, it just helps me keep everything nice and clean. So the field type, I want to pick the tracks thing, and I want to make sure I check this box so it is a list of things. Click on create, and then now in my UI, I've got a simple page here that allows me to choose an artist. On the left-hand side, it will show me all of the tracks in the whole system. On the right-hand side, it will show me the list of tracks that are associated to whatever artist I pick. So here's what it looks like in the preview. Here's the available tracks. It's going to tell me to choose an artist to see their tracks, whichever one of these I pick. It's going to show me the tracks, but because I haven't built that logic yet, there's nothing associated to it. So the repeating group on the left is simply just grabbing a list of all of the tracks. The repeating group on the right, the type of content is set to tracks, but the data source, instead of retrieving that, I'm going to grab that from whatever value I select from the dropdown. So I've got the reference to the dropdown and then the tracks field. So that is now going to grab those tracks, but again, I haven't created anything that actually assigns them yet, so those are still empty. So what I need to do is create a workflow action on the left-hand column, click on Add Workflow, and I want to make changes to a thing. Now what thing do I want to change? I want to change whatever dropdown that they have selected. So I want to change that value, and in the tracks field, I want to add the current cell's track. Now, when you're adding things in Bubble this way, it won't duplicate them. So if you were using a join table, you would have to do only when, and then you'd have to search to make sure the record wasn't already there. Otherwise, it would just add a duplicate. This add and remove in lists is smart enough to know that if it's not there, add it. And if you put a remove in there, remove it if it's in there. You don't have to put any other logic to do that. So now if I go back into the preview page and I pick artist and I pick a track, so it's now going to show, except I didn't actually change this to be the name of the track. So current cells track, track name. So now if I refresh this and I pick this, so that's now there. And if I wanted to add another one, I could add another one there. Now, suppose you wanted to do something where you don't want to show all the tracks in here. See, I can't click and add these again, but it's not a really good user experience to see all the ones that already belong to that artist. So there is a repeating group property that will allow you to do this. So I'm going to select the repeating group. So this is going to search for all of the tracks in the system, and what I want to do is I want to minus a list, and the list that I want to subtract from that is my artist track list. So now if I reload the page and choose my artist, it's only going to show me the tracks that have not been assigned yet. So as you click these, it will go ahead and it will just add them and it will remove it from the available tracks list. So to remove them from this list, very similar, I can just create a workflow here. make changes to a thing. The thing I want to change is the artist value, and I want to remove the current cell track. So now if I go ahead and reload this, it'll remove it. And that's a simple way you can add and remove data.